Hey guys, I'm Andrei, your Minsk guide for tourism, relocation and real estate, and today we are talking about real estate. My company, LLCSIS, has been on the market relocating people for the last 2 years, and if you're looking to move to Belarus, if you are thinking to move to Belarus, a consultancy or any solid steps could basically be assisted by my company. And I'll be happy to be your Minsk guide. Let's see what trends there are in the real estate markets in 2023. Historically, or traditionally, January never brings any records in sales in real estate, so January 2023 actually follows one of the best years in the industry. So far, January has witnessed about 900 deals. Most of them occurred in Minsk, but around 100 to 200 deals were in the major cities like Mogilov, Grodno, Vitebsk, and such like. While the sales are underway and the general price tag has increased by about 2.5%, roughly. The last year was the record selling year in the history of the modern real estate industry in Belarus. There were about 16,000 deals in Minsk alone. The factors why this may have happened are listed in our previous video about real estate. We can only add that the most expensive flat was sold in the city center. It was a 4-room place, about 300 square meters large, in a somewhat posh 6-floor building near Victory Square. It cost over $700,000. Roughly, the most expensive house went around $300,000, short ride outside Minsk, just to give you an idea of figures. Utilities are considered an important bill for the population in Belarus, so the price increase for utilities is never more than $5 at a time, and the next price increase is this February by about $5. The next one is in July. In July, they're going to up the price for hot water and heating, which is mostly the trouble of the foreign owners, because their utilities are not subsidized by the state. They are supposed to be about 3 times of what the locals are paying. To give you an idea of what the utilities may be like, my client from Canada has a little Khrushchev flat, a 2-room place, which is rented by a foreign student. Bill-wise, the tenant has to pay about 200 rubles. Half of that is heating and hot water, which means after March or April, the bill will lower to around 100 rubles per month, which will include internet. So roughly 30 to 40 bucks in the warm season and about double in the cold season because of the heating. If you ever visit Minsk, you will notice there is a huge bunch of business centers, glass-plated buildings, which are not really high-rises like in New York or something, but there's a great bunch of office buildings. They're not renting out very well lately. Over the last 3 years, their main flock, the IT guys, who have been troubled by different factors, have been moving out of the country, so the rentals are going dirt cheap in the offices. They are almost as good as warehouses price-wise. The drop of the office rentals may or may not be a good factor if you are willing to hire locally or relocate some workforce over here, but this may be a bit of a challenge in other respects. I would say generally the number of the people relocating to Belarus has lowered, so I can't say there's a crowd at the door right now. Obviously, people are waiting for the war to end this way or the other, and it may take a month or 2 for the whole thing to resolve. By the look of it, it's just a wild guess. And then things may be moving a little bit faster on this end. Right now we are shopping with my European client for another little flat that we will be renting out long term. And a couple of options may be looking like this. Let's go and see what those Stalin era houses have to offer inside and outside. Well, after what we've seen here, we can conclude, again, it's a very wild guess because I'm no expert, and even experts here tend to plan the opposite ways. We may say the following: the central Minsk apartments are never too cheap. There are several factors that may kill the price, and that makes my bread. Essentially, I am always assisting during the deal, mostly as a translator, of course, and as a result, you may save a few $1,000s. The central Minsk apartments aren't selling daily, but there is demand, and of course they are not going to be twice as cheap in half a year's time. The deal may just never happen. The sellers will put their deal on hold to save the money and potentially to wait through the hardships that may occur. The dollar rate is increasing, so if the buyer is offering US dollars, according to the tradition here in Belarus, the bargain price for the flat may be a little bit lower than it otherwise will be. As you know, the deal is always in rubles, but the owner always talks dollars. So if you have the required amount on the spot, on your bank account obviously, or in cash, there are different options. There is a way of making the seller a bit more flexible about the pricing. Of course, it's even better if you find a seller who is outside the country, so that transaction may occur untroubled between the two currency accounts of the seller, who will be a foreigner and legally charging you in currency, and as a foreigner you will be legally paying him in currency over a bank transfer, and everything will be sweet, safe, official, and to the point. Whichever way it turns, deal with professionals when you get your relocation or real estate purchase underway, organized, arranged, and I hope to see you in Minsk. The next expat meeting is announced down below. There are my contacts and donation links. Thank you very much for your support. Any feedback is welcome in the comments. See you later. Cheers.